Hi, my name's Robert. A few years ago, I was a man driven by ambition. For me, success had only one measure: money. I worked day and night chasing targets and measuring my worth by the balance in my bank account. And I truly believed that was the ideal life. Until one day, I realized there was a price I had been paying all along. I had lost myself. I used to take pride in being busy, proud that I never had time. Every day I came in first and went home last. I thought working hard was the ultimate form of loving my future, but I forgot that the present also needs to be loved. I turned down dinner invitations from friends, postponed family trips, and I can't even remember the last time I looked into my mother's eyes without checking my phone. I used to tell everyone, I'm building my future. But in truth, I was destroying my present piece by piece. Everything peaked when I finally reached what I thought was the dream. A high salary, a prestigious title, a corner office with a view of the skyline. People congratulated me. My parents were proud. My social media was full of admiration. From the outside, it looked like I had it all. But inside, something was breaking. I remember coming home late one night, the city lights still glowing outside my window, and yet the room felt unbearably dark. I dropped my bag on the floor, loosened my tie, and stared at my reflection in the glass. My face looked tired, but it wasn't just exhaustion. It was emptiness. Every day had started to look the same. Wake up, check emails, rush to work, chase deadlines, smile through meetings, then go home too tired to even think. I stopped calling my friends because I was busy. I stopped visiting my parents because there would be time later. But later never came. The truth is, I wasn't living. I was surviving in a cycle of performance and pressure. My achievements became numbers, my happiness became transactions, and the higher I climbed, the lonelier it felt. There were nights I'd open my banking app just staring at the growing balance as if it could talk back to me, as if one more zero could fill the silence echoing inside, but it never did. Sometimes I'd sit in the middle of a restaurant surrounded by people, colleagues laughing, glasses clinking, and still feel completely invisible, like I was present but absent, successful but hollow. The hardest part? No one noticed, because I was too good at pretending that everything was fine. I wore success like armor, while inside, I was slowly disappearing. And in those quiet, sleepless nights, when the noise of the city faded and there was nowhere to hide, a question kept echoing in my head. Is this really what I wanted? I had traded my peace for pressure, my time for trophies, my laughter for late nights. And in chasing the life I thought I needed, I forgot the life I already had. That was the moment I realized I was rich in everything people could see, but bankrupt in everything that truly mattered. I chased money, and somewhere along the way, I lost myself. I began to ask myself, what is all this really for? Was money ever truly my goal? Or was it just a way to escape my fear of failure, my need for validation? I remembered how it all started. I wanted to be successful to make my parents proud. But somewhere along the way, I drifted far from them. I was working to build a future, but I was breaking my present in the process. I started losing my sense of purpose. No passion, no excitement, just numbers on a payslip. And I realized something terrifying. Without my job, I didn't know who I was anymore. My entire life revolved around money. One morning, after another sleepless night, I looked at myself in the mirror and whispered, "I can't keep living like this." That sentence changed everything. It wasn't a dramatic breakdown, just a quiet moment of truth. I decided to take a step back, not because I gave up, but because I finally wanted to breathe. So I took a long break from work. No meetings, no emails, no phone calls, just silence. I packed a small bag and went home, to the house where I grew up. The first morning there, I woke up to sunlight spilling through the curtains and birds singing instead of my alarm. I sat on the porch with a cup of tea, watching the world move slowly. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty for doing nothing. It was strange how peace could feel both unfamiliar and comforting at the same time. During those quiet days, I started reconnecting with my parents, my old friends, and myself. I helped my father fix the garden fence. I cooked dinner with my mother while she told stories from my childhood. We laughed. And I realized something simple, something I had forgotten. Life doesn't need to be big to be meaningful. I started writing again, not for profit, not for recognition, but simply because it made me feel alive. I learned to give, not because I had so much, but because giving made me feel enough. I began to spend money differently, not to impress others, but to create moments that mattered. A small gift for someone I care about. A trip with no agenda, just presence. A book that inspired me more than any seminar ever did. Little by little, I started feeling lighter. Not because life became easier, but because I no longer carried the weight of pretending. And I realized something powerful. I didn't need to earn my worth. I just needed to remember it. Money used to be my goal. Now, it's just a tool, a way to support the life I actually want to live. The more I focused on what truly mattered, the less I feared losing what didn't. In chasing stillness, I found strength. In choosing simplicity, I discovered abundance. And in letting go, I finally came home to myself. Now, I still work, I still earn, like everyone else, but the difference is I no longer let money define my life. I work to make a difference, not just a living. I save, but I also live. I've learned that true wealth is balance, the balance between ambition and peace. I've realized that money is important, yes, but it's not everything. It's like water. You need it to live, but if you let it overflow, it will drown you. Now I live by a simple principle. Money can return, but time and yourself cannot. If you're listening to this right now, and you've been running too fast, pause for a moment. Look around you. There are so many priceless things that money will never buy. Family laughter, quiet mornings, peace in your heart, and gratitude. Don't wait until you lose them to understand their worth, because maybe what you've been chasing all along was never money, but the sense of being enough. I'm Robert, and this is my story about how I chased money, but eventually found myself.